I started doubling down on my strengths, which was obviously fitness and social media, and that's when you see progress.
The answer Tomas O'Leary probably wants.
Showing people what I was eating and the way I was training.
You could see the fans behind the goal going absolutely crazy.
What the Gary Vee say, hustle until the people are mocking you ask for a job.
Welcome back to Season 2 of the Frankly Nuts podcast.
With your hosts Joe Loftus and Kevin McCarthy.
Our podcast looks to delve deeper into the minds of those who have a story to tell.
We hope to bring you long-form, open and honest conversation.
We've always said that each guest brings something different to the table.
We strive to bring you content that may give you that little nugget of information you never heard before. Maybe it gives you that push to start that project you've been putting off for a while, or maybe it just gives you a laugh.
Before we start the pod, if you're listening on audio, we just want to ask if you could subscribe or leave a review.
If you're watching on YouTube, we'd ask that you hit the subscribe button or maybe hit the bell. You'll get a notification when our next podcast is up. That would be sweet. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankly Nuts podcast. This week we're happy to say that the podcast is brought to you by a local company called the West Cork Beard Company.
Yeah, I've been using the peppermint beard oil now for the last couple of weeks, and what I will say about it, it's been absolutely brilliant. I used to get a very flaky, rough beard, almost dandruffy, but every time I got out of the shower, just whacked on the beard oil, and as you can all see on the camera there now, it's looking very slick, 10 out of 10. I'm looking good, feeling good.
Looking sharp, Kev. So, big thanks again to the West Cork Beard Company for supporting us, and if you want to support local and support them in buying any of their products, beard oils, beard balms or beanies, their link is in the description at thewestcorkbeardcompany.ie. Be sure to check them out. So this week on the podcast we have a guest in the form of Bernard Casey, who's a stand-up comedian, a name or a face you might certainly recognise from Facebook, with I suppose characters such as his local gossip or nephew character.
Polish barman, anything like that, yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll crack on into the podcast. It certainly is a good one and we look forward to sharing it with you.
So guys, welcome back to the Frankly Nuts podcast, episode 5 now at this stage, I think it is.
Yeah.
We're delighted to be joined
Season
by...
2, episode 5.
Yeah.
the man's voice you hear there now is Bernard Casey. Bernard, how are you getting on?
How are you? Done very good, lads. Thanks very much for having me.
That's the job. You're on tour at the moment as far as I know?
Yeah, I am. I suppose I've been kind of constantly on the road really since about last July.
Right.
Nearly every weekend, like bar one or bar the odd little suspiog.
Yeah.
But it was. I suppose last weekend I was in the INEC in Killarney. It was my first time doing that, so that was a big night. In fairness,
Big enough venue.
Yeah, it was. It was the Acoustic Club, which is like it wasn't the huge 2,000 seater one.
The Christy Moore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the Mangerton Suite, which is the Acoustic Club's about 350. So it was nice. It was good to do that, you know.
How bad?
And I suppose the Everyman is the next. I have another night in the INEC next weekend, and then the Everyman is the big one. Then after that.
And have you any diva requirements when you're going on tour? Something you need in the dressing room?
Wine gums in the green room or
the
something?
Milk tea.
Literally the milk teas have to be washed and placed in the bag before we actually go on. It's great with comedians because we're like I suppose we're the least demanding of anyone. They're like, music is okay, the sound is fine. Yeah, fine out.
No requirements at all.
Like when you come on now, like do you want this music playing when you come on, or turn it off when you start speaking, or when, or like.
Anyway, at all, like,
whatever you want, don't worry at all. You're all right. Does the mic work? It does. We're fine out.
and stuff. And how do you find performing for live audiences?
Oh, I love it. That's what I started doing. Really, I suppose I was speaking with a comedian friend of mine today. I was up in Dublin today this morning. Yeah, we went up for an audition for an ad. Us comedians, we're stone mad for the ads. Although we never fucking get them. But I was talking to one of the lads, and he was like, there's a lot of internet comedians, you know. Yeah. But I suppose I started with stand-up was mine first, so I started with stand-up.
I thought it was the other way. I thought
Same, I would have.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people play, because I would get a lot of requests from people saying, "Hey, do you do any stand-up?" I'm like, well, I'm first and foremost, I'm a stand-up comic, and then after that, the videos were always just to get people to come to my show, because we lived out in Kerry, we couldn't get anyone to come, like. So,
and how did you find the stand-up? Like, because that must be a daunting thing to get into, like.
Love it, absolutely love it. Yeah, I suppose I started doing, we started doing little sketches at kind of in youth club down at home. Yeah, we did. We were kind of persuaded to do this youth club sketch at home. down in Kerry. It was a competition, and we said, you know what, we'll go for it. Like a gang of lads. There was I think there were 7 of us.
Bit of cracking,
Was it myself, the Lovies, myself, Stephen and Ger Lovey, Michal Faha, Michal Lovey, Colm Granny, and Mikey Keating.
Shout
We
out
were
for
the
the
first
boys.
boys. We did it. We won the All Ireland with it. You see, we did a sketch, and I was like, this sketch about an alien coming to the village, and you know, it was just like a real classic kind of unbelievable sketch. Like it was such a laugh, and that's where we kind of got the interest. And then I kind of followed on with that. Then, and when I got to UCC, then I always had an interest in comedy myself. And my cousin, my friends were always talking about various comics, and I just made the plunge one time. And,
Spit the bullet, like.
Spit the bullet, go straight for it. Yeah.
And then I suppose like how we know you mainly is through your online presence. And like you've become an online phenomenon really, like in Ireland, like
cheers. It kind of happened quite, I suppose, the last year it's picked up big time.
Your stature has grown quite a lot, hasn't it? Like
in fairness, look, it has. I suppose definitely it's all down to the milky teeth, but
And what kind of led you to go down that route? Was it just kind of natural with
total and utter accident?
Go away.
Yeah, pure and utter accident. I was always kind of into the real sketch comedy, you know, like the properly, like having the lights and the camera here, you know, the sound and everything. Let's get a really good tight sketch and everything. And just one day we were down in it was the Monday of the Maybank holiday last year. We were down in Cove, myself and my girlfriend Laura, and we were down to a cruise ship came in, so we're like, right, we'll have to go down to that. You know? It was like half a hotel freaking broke off from Florida and landed in Cove. Like we were just looking at that anyway and walk around the town. And just before we left, there was a sweet shop in the middle of the town.
Oh, Auntie Nelly's,
That's the one, is it? Yeah. Shout out to Auntie Nelly. Fair play to you, Auntie, who kick-started my career. Auntie Nelly, I suppose it's a really suitable name, you know?
And that's where you got the milky teeth then, is it?
We got the milky teeth then, and we were walking out to the car park down the pier. And I was like, give me one of them. I said, geez, I used to always do this. I used to work in a sweet shop and have a post office in the shop at home. I used to always put in the teeth.
Yeah.
And I started talking to her like a real creep, like, I was like, well, give me a spin home, you're a great girl. And she was like, stop it. She goes, it's so creepy, but it's really funny in a way. Like, And then I just pulled out the phone as she was driving. I said, oh, I'll take a recording this, and I'll send it to the lads. And just did the recording, and I sent it to the lads, and I think we even pulled over to watch it. Because Laura was like, that's fucking ridiculously good. Like, And I was slow. I wouldn't have put it up myself. The lads had said like, geez, that's very good, man, you know. And Laura, my girlfriend, had said, you have to put that up. She said, you have to, like. I was like, Jesus, because you just don't know how it's going to go. This guy, like they were like, he's finally lost it. You owe me 20 euros, you know. But put it up, and that was it. I actually recorded the second one right after that, as I was doing it. The first time I did the one with the fella Joe Sheehan opening up the ringside rest, and then I did the new guard in town, like literally 10 seconds after that.
Go ahead.
So there were like 2 videos in the one setting. And so I saw the success of the first one. I said, geez, will I put out the second one? They were like, put it out. So,
what actually sounds very good there is the support you had doing it, like, you know, your boys and the girlfriend all encouraged you.
That was it. Like, if would I have done it myself? I don't know. Like, but like definitely
having that backing, like
it does give you that kind of, it does give you confidence. Like, it would be. Jesus, we could be. we might be somewhere else if we didn't have them. I suppose.
Exactly. And like what I wanted to ask you, we were talking off air. You're actually originally from Kerry. Did you have a lot of influences growing up that like are characters that you would have kind of looked at and said, "Fuck, they're gas." Like. Took on from them.
There's characters everywhere. Like, in any kind of rural village or town, there's a character. I suppose our house growing up always had a kind of open door policy. You know, there was always someone coming in. Like So my dad was the local guy that didn't drink. So like people always came in, look at me, Ishbin.
He was the designated driver.
He was the DD. Sure, he'd never care. Like he'd just be there. Don't bother. And you know, but I suppose. There's characters and all sorts, I suppose, from the GAA to the local bar to I suppose working in the local shop as well. You meet loads of people. People are just natural storytellers. Like I suppose it's not the actual people. It's the rhythm and speech. You know, that's what I'd always be into. Like the way they can make a simple sentence just extremely funny. You know? You know, like for example, there was one guy who said a story. He said. they were like, this it said Longo, didn't one of them sell a big field of rocks? And Jesus Christ, he turned into an awful drinker after that. And they said, Jesus turned water into wine. That man turned rocks into Guinness. You know, it was just that kind. I was like, and I, as quick as a flash, like you know, I didn't even react. Just kind of walked away as if this is a normal sentence. I was like, that's hilarious.
So those little people you kind of.
Oh yeah. I suppose
Bring
as
them
well.
on board.
We our big thing was always we'd be big Kerry supporters. Like so going the long away days there. Growing up, we were always going to like to Dublin for matches. So it was not like fucking 5.5, 6 hour journey. So that we'd always like you carpool. So you'd have someone different every week. It's like, oh, your man's coming with us. Oh, great, it's gonna be gas. You know?
You kind of take.
And you sit back and they'll be telling great stories. Yeah.
Very good. And do you know, I suppose when you're doing the sketches now these days and you're filming all of them, and is it a DIY job, or do you have someone helping with them? Do you edit yourself, or do you have someone editing for you, or anything like that?
Initially, all my sketches, like the ones earlier on, the B Team and the Polish Barman and all that, they were done by Brian O'Connor from Brian Oval Productions. Yeah. We were in the same class in school, and we had played football growing up and things. He'd be a Valencia young Islander, and I would have been across the water in Skylar Rangers, but we'd have always known each other, and then we just met one day, just randomly. I think they were going to a match, and we were going to a match, and we just met in the car park. I'm like, oh Christ. He was like, I hear you're doing in comedy. I said, yeah. I said, I'm doing filming if you ever want to do something someday.
Nice.
And Brian's top class. He works very well with a lot of cahoots.
Yeah.
He does a lot of cahoots stuff, and he filmed their stuff in the Opera House as well, their live show, and he did a lot of work there. And I suppose I didn't like any of those good sketches, and I'd never had him only for Brian, really, because he's so meticulous and really, really good at what he does, you know. Yeah. And I suppose since then, now, like with using the phone, I just do it myself. I just out with the phone and just it's a very simple editing app. Yeah. And I was kind of intimidated at the beginning, and but you know, just like anything, you just kind of.
You kind of learn it.
Just you try and error. Like,
because like a lot of your sketches are just you in front of the camera, and you can see it's almost you just holding it like that.
Yeah, it is. No, like it's kind of gone total 360 from what it was, you know. Yeah, but I suppose it's more convenient now at the moment. And
exactly.
You know.
And like when I saw you walking through an airport now recently enough, heading over to Boston, how do you feel about filming when there's people at the start?
But you know what? It's at the beginning I would have that's a true point because. But nowadays people are always either listening or sending voice memos, and it's just common. It's natural. People doing Instagram stories and everything, but you don't have to speak that loud. If your phone is right up here, you can just and if there's that many people around you, they won't. They'll just think you're talking to someone on FaceTime or WhatsApp, except you look completely mad. This guy's wearing milk teeth in his fucking head.
Because I was thinking the same as well. Because further on the video, you're on the aeroplane, you're doing the aeroplane, like which is a very confined space compared to walking through the parking gates or whatever.
I had the experience of being on the train beforehand. I did one on the train, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to do this. Like, they're all going to get mental. Like, because Ireland's small, anyone can.
Exactly.
I saw Ben Casey on the train the last year, and I could swear he was talking to himself. You know.
And they're very judgy, like very.
As a country.
Of course. But you realise if the phone is like this far away from your phone, you can literally just be like, God almighty, there's not any chance we can drop it to you. I'll drop a fish key. They just people might think they actually don't bat an eyelid, to be honest.
So you've down to a fine art now.
We'll get it. What I can do with a mask now, I'll be delighted.
And another video you mentioned there back along was the Polish Barman skit. Is that's your most engaged one, I suppose, to date? Is it? I see on Facebook it has like 1.9 million views. Or
it's both that. It's touch and go between that and the French oral. Yeah, they're the two big ones. Languages are probably the big ones. So the Polish one really took off. It was good crack doing that. Yeah, because we had the bar like in the countryside. A lot of the bars don't open until 5 in the day, you know, or 6 o'clock or something. Especially if it's midweek in in October or something. Yeah. And we had, we did it in the Ring Line in Chapeltown in Valencia, and they were like, "Yeah, look, it was like a Wednesday in October, so you're fine till 5 o'clock, lads." So we went in at 10 o'clock. We'd no script or anything. We just knew the idea, you know. Yeah. So we went in, and Brian got it's really well lit and everything. You can see Brian was. The way he did it, because we kind of both wanted to. I hadn't done a video in a while, and I was like, "Look, I want this one to be good." And Brian's like, "I want to really show off what I can do as well." And it paid off very well for Brian as well. Like, you know, he got a lot of work with professionally out of it, you know.
How bad? Yeah.
And but it was great crack because it was just all take after take after take after take until we said, actually, what did I say there? That last one, that worked, to use that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was, that's how kind of it planned out, really.
Jeez. It must be mad to have a video like with 1.9 million views, like. Do you know?
Yeah, it was. Geez, it took off. Yeah, it was. It's nice. You know you're doing something right anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reaching the right audience.
There was a few videos that have been taken down and things like that. But yeah, there was. It really did take off. I suppose if you look at the demographics as well, like that Poland, there's nearly 40 million people in Poland, like.
Right.
And like a lot of people come in Ireland. Then there's 200,000
Something
around
like
that
that.
in Ireland. So that's sharing, tagging abroad, and then maybe people in Latvia, Lithuania are getting tagged. They're like, I'm not from Poland. Yeah, they're like, oh, sorry about that. You know.
Yeah.
And it got great. I did get a bit of backlash from the Polish community saying that that my name that I chose Nikita as the name of the barman, but that's actually a Russian name.
All
It's
right.
not Polish. So I was like, damn it, because
Yeah.
that's not something I do. Like, I'd be like,
Bit of a slip up, like.
I would be very proud. Like, I would be like, want to know. I'd even get the town right, say it right, and everything. I was like, damn it. Anyway, that was one slip up. Like, that was the problem of not having a script, I suppose. But
It was
other than that,
totally
it was fine.
unscripted.
Yeah,
I thought you would have scripted it beforehand, maybe when you sat down the bar.
No, we just did it take after take. That's all, until we kind of felt natural.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
But we had the time, so we
Yeah.
we did
From
it.
the
all day.
like.
Yeah.
And is that the kind of case for all videos, or what's your kind of creative process in making the videos?
Yeah, I suppose with the gossip, it's all made up on the spot, really. Majority of them, like,
talent for that, like, you know.
it's like there's a few takes where like I'd be doing it there, and Laura would be driving, my girlfriend would be driving, and talking away and blah blah blah, and I'd mention something, I'd say, fucking shit. She was like, what's wrong? I was like, that's just not good, not that one, and you just
Get rid
delete,
of it,
start
yeah.
again, and tear off again. I'm like, it's just no, look, I'll do it later.
Yeah,
I'm not definitely not now. I'm not gonna come up with something good. But yeah, usually it's kind of take after take after take until you feel right. But a lot of the gossips are about maybe after 2 or 3 takes. You're kind of like, because it's so close to home for me, really. It's not that hard. You know. But other sketches now would be, you'd have the bones and the frame of the idea, and you might have 1 or 2 lines that you want to get in there.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing is the editing.
Yeah.
In a video is getting the edit right. 'Cause if you an extra second or even an extra millisecond, you could lose a joke.
Yeah.
Like if
timing
is
is
timing.
important,
Yeah.
like,
So that's probably where it's mainly at. Like.
Yeah. And would you have an idea, like we say before putting out a video, would you have an idea kind of like, you know, I think this one's gonna really do well, like, or is it just a case of
you would, I suppose, you'd have a kind of, as I say, I feel it in my waters, you know. You feel it, I'd have a notion. All right, like I thought, like there were some videos that I thought weren't going to be either could have been flops, like the Irish train one.
Okay.
Like I remember doing that with Brian, and he was editing it, and I said, "What do you think of that, Brian?" He was like, "To be honest, it's a bit odd." And I was like, "I know it is, but I think it might work." Like, you know. And I was like, put it up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I could get awful abuse now for this. They're like, your man's crazy, like, but it worked fine. And then I did one last year with about TG Carr with players, like celebrity players, and your man Brian Carty calling them out, and I was like, this is gonna do great, and just flopped. Didn't go good at all. And I was like, this is so. I put a lot of thought and creative, and I did all the translation into Irish and everything. People were like, "Fuck that, can't be bothered."
And are you a fluent Irish speaker? You are.
I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I would never say fluent because you'd just be cut out. Like.
We couldn't catch out anyway, neither of us.
I'm fluent.
Because like even though, you know, I think you did it yourself. It's the cell phone, you know, where you're doing the voiceover for the train. How you pronounced all the Irish, I was like, fuck, that actually takes a bit of...
but I suppose you take the train like we did enough times going to Dublin, and you'd be singing it off, like, you just know it, like, it's
did you write that down or anything beforehand, or were you just able to
just, I suppose, no, you wouldn't have needed to write it out as such, because you knew exactly what it was, but I suppose I did a bit of research on the pronunciation of, I think on Farran Four was the because there's 2 pronunciations, I think there's for Farran 4 in Kerry, there's Unfarran 4 and there's Unfarran 4.
Okay.
So we're like, freaking, which is the
Which one?
And then I remember on the train one day and I heard it. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it's
That's the
Unfarran
one,
4.
shout it down,
Yeah. So other than that, it was great, really. Like Tralee.
And you're on multiple platforms online. I suppose my question would be, which one do you think has kind of served you best? Has it been like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube? Which has been-
Definitely
or-
Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Facebook.
definitely Facebook. It's been the kind of catapult really for
Yeah.
for
quite a lot of
everything
views
I've
on
done.
it,
Like
yeah.
Facebook would be number one. YouTube initially it probably would have been because Facebook didn't have a video platform
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Around 2013, I think we did our first video.
Right.
We used to do kind of an audio thing before, audio visual thing. It was called Breaking Balls. We used to do that. It was kind of a Des Cahill interviewing Joe Brolly. I used to do impersonations, but I got sick of them. But that kind of thing. And YouTube was the big thing for a while.
Yeah.
But then when Facebook set up the video thing, it was just
Catapulted.
Like
yeah,
that moment,
yeah,
like,
like yeah. It just put it into a new realm really.
Yeah.
And I suppose after that, Instagram has been quite good. I've only been on Instagram, I'd say, less than a year.
Go away.
Yeah, I didn't have it before. Just
Yeah.
Well, I thought I was out of the cool club, like, and I said, Jesus, some young lads there were playing football. They're like, "You're on Instagram, at all. You should go on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's where it's at now."
Tis the one like it's all the
And,
rage, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's all like now it's we'll say 16 to 25 is Instagram,
Yeah.
and then 30 to 50 is Facebook.
Yeah.
25 to 50 is Facebook,
Facebook,
like,
Yeah.
primarily, and I'm shocking on Twitter. Just.
Don't really use it.
Twitter, I do sometimes.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are maybe like that too.
Yeah,
You know?
you're either
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah,
Some people
Twitter's
are
more
brilliant.
news events, or if
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah. Some people are excellent at like writing practical jokes or like writing extremely like really witty kind of
Creative, like
that takes a lot of thought. Like,
Yeah.
You know, you just sometimes don't have time in the day. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
look, I'm there sometimes going, all right, nah,
Yeah.
can't be asked.
But it's good to diversify as well, isn't it? And be on all platforms.
Ah,
I
it
suppose,
is,
to
yeah,
reach,
yeah,
to reach
it is,
all
yeah.
the audiences, like. Yeah.
It is,
But
yeah.
you're doing well across them all. Like you have over 1 million views on YouTube, I think. Facebook, geez, like you have a couple of videos that hit over a few million. Like you are growing on them, like.
They're working a treat, like, you know,
Yeah.
that we I don't know where we'd be without them, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you'd just be doing the clubs and the pubs and just hoping that you got a spot. Like before the internet, like, I
Where
don't
would you
know,
have been, like,
where
yeah.
would you do? Like,
Yeah,
it was you'd just have to live in a city. You know,
Yeah.
you'd have to live in Dublin, or you had no chance really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can live in fucking Boris Ossery, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you could be huge over in Las Vegas.
Yeah, because I see it with a lot of the American comedians as well. They all have podcasts themselves now and stuff.
Yeah.
And they say, like, you know, it works wonders for selling tickets to all their shows.
It
and
does,
stuff,
yeah,
having
yeah.
such an online
A
presence,
platform,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It definitely would. All right, yeah.
So it is a wonder how they manage beforehand, like.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
as you
It's just
say.
like even so one of the lads in Dublin there, Davy Riley, who's on the Try channel, and they have a huge American following. Like the Americans love it because Irish people are trying,
Yeah.
you know, jerky for the first time, and they're just, you know, recording and doing it. And he sold out a show in New York. You know,
Go
just people coming from all over America. It's like, oh my God, the guys from. I think it was Fax. It was called before. But it's called
Yeah.
Try Channel now. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
actually know
like,
the
so,
one you're on about. Yeah.
yeah. Do you know some of them lads are doing quite well from it as well, and like the likes of like Brilliant Shane there from Tralee. I don't know if you heard it. Like Brilliant Shane is class. Like does really good short kind of dark videos.
Yeah.
and he's a great following from it as well.
Go
You know,
ahead, yeah.
you know. So it's been good to the country, boys. Anyway,
Yeah,
you know, yeah.
And
Okay.
from what I
Yeah.
can see online, you're pretty close with your man Fred as well. That was in.
Oh, Fred Cook. Yeah. I
Dublin.
toured with Fred before Christmas. We did
Yeah.
September, October, and a bit of November. Yeah, and we did a
Like
kind
he's
of
a
a
gas man
nationwide
out
tour.
here,
Oh
like,
yeah. Top man. Fred has been at the game now for over 10 years. Like, and he's just an incredibly talented musician as well as being a class comic. You know, so it really works for him. It's just such an entertaining show. You know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a pure gentleman as well.
Yeah. And was I right in saying you performed at Electric Picnic as well before, didn't you?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
well,
what I read, it was an unbelievable show. Like I was reading up online now and stuff before the podcast, and it was saying it almost catapulted you, like the EP show.
Yeah, it was. It like you do all the pubs and clubs as you say
Yeah.
beforehand, and
Work
you're
hard,
just
like,
you're getting into your car, you're gigging, you're turning on, you're going home, and you're
Grafting,
constantly
like, yeah.
it's just grafting. You're constantly gigging.
Yeah.
And if you do enough good ones, then like you'll start last to the festivals.
Yeah.
And I suppose the big thing with like the likes of EP and the Vodafones and all them festivals, like the Vodafone Carnival, the Vodafone Comedy Festival, all them, when you're on the poster with those big names, it just looks so good. Like, do you know, it really works for you. Do you know, like a bar now, or even a place, if you're looking to do a show, like they wouldn't think twice if they saw your name on that poster with Bill Bailey and you know. It was and the Rubber Bandits, you know. I think likes of that. It was great. It was a great start. Like, it was a great feeling to be in the same. Like, I remember I was there before the show, like my own show. I had done it actually. I did my own show, and then later that evening the Rubber Bandits were on. I was backstage. I was like, you know, like everyone, you're trying to get a look at them, put out the bags, like. And there was like Mr. Chrome was there, like he was just like, "How are things, bye?" Just having a chat, just pretending not to be starstruck. Like.
And did you get a glimpse or anything? No.
I did, of him. I didn't not Blind Boy. No, he was bagged up. He was bagged up. But I saw Mr. Chrome. Yeah, he was. A good chat with him. It was gas.
It was a weird experience.
Yeah, but like you're looking at him, you're like, oh yeah, I can make out the moat. All right.
Yeah. And what were the nerves like before EP going out on stage? Like, that's a big stage to go out and perform on.
It is, yeah. I was small but lucky with the time. It was the same. It was the same day as the All Ireland hurling final between Galway and Waterford, and I think I was on early enough. I was on around 2, maybe. I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock. Yeah. So I had the crowd, and then just maybe after me, maybe one act after me, people started flooding out to go watch the match. Yeah. And like
that must be a nightmare for whoever's following up there.
Like that tent is like can hold over 1,000 people. Like I don't know how many people it can hold. They're all just sitting down on the grass. Hey! Hello, y'all well. Yeah.
And so when you're coming up with a show or like a stand-up show, how long is a show when you do one? Is it like an hour long? Or?
At the moment, no. It's it can be anything between an hour and 20 usually. Yeah. I've done a few hour and a halves depending on hecklers and having the racket crowd. But you divide it into two. Like you do a first half and a second half, or some venues are preferred not just go straight through. Right. And you'll just do maybe an hour and 10 straight. Yeah. Because you couldn't sit down for an hour and a half straight. Like it's tough for the audience. Like, but. Yeah, generally you'd be well over the hour anyway. Yeah,
and what's the kind of creative process? Like, are you sitting down writing out your full show like for months beforehand?
Yeah, I suppose I suppose you build up a body of material after 7 or 8. I suppose 8 years since I started stand up. Right. You'd have a big body of work down through the years, so you'd be picking and choosing, and you'd know what works and what doesn't work. Yeah. Now, like you're trying to. Like the great thing about Cork at the moment. Is that there's places like the Coke on a Monday night, the Comedy Cavern on a Tuesday. It's in Douglas and it's in Collins. You know, Collins Bar. They have like open mics. Yeah. Or you just might do a 5-minute spot. Yeah. Where like you just go in and you try out something new.
You can work things out like.
Yeah. Like so they're great. And City Limits then on a Friday or Saturday is very very handy as well. Like you can try that again to an even bigger audience. You know? And I suppose I'd have a little notebook. Yeah. It could hit you at any stage really. You could be bloody washing the plate and just go, Jesus, you could hear something on the radio, something could connect you, like it's a connection. Like, jeez, I better not forget that now. A lot of the time I do it in the train actually. Okay. If I'm going up to Dublin for something, or if I would do a lot of writing in the train because it just passes the journey way quicker. Even today now I went up and down and it was very handy like. And you just kind of because you're just okay. It's just me and the table and the book. No one talks to each other in the train anymore. So they're like, the Wi-Fi's crap. So no distractions. No distractions, and away you go. Yeah. As well, I suppose you'd have the bones of an idea as well, and like you might fish that out. Like just go up cold turkey with the bones of the idea in the Cocoa Club on a Monday night, and maybe try and rewrite it again for the following week. Yeah, but better. Like, don't be shit the second time.
Fuck, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like how you do it. Is there do you bring in an element of your characters as well into the show?
I do now. Yeah, the gossip, of course. Like a lot of people are coming to see the gossip. A lot. You know, there's a certain people would. Just all they want to see, you know. So they're getting a bit of a treat anyway if they're saying, guys, he can do stand up as well. Some people are going, when's he gonna bring out the teeth? Usually that's the answer. But that was probably the trickiest bit, is trying to incorporate him in and try to and tried to make it like fit within like
The
a
show
live
almost,
show, because you
yeah.
could go up and start ranting and raring, but it wouldn't work. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
So I suppose for him, for the character, I was writing like he's a cutting bastard, so it's just slagging. So how could you slag someone?
Yeah.
And ask them about their job, and what could you say back? You know, just you're just writing out a series of insults
Yeah.
that are not like derogatory but funny. You know, you're
Yeah,
just trying to
exactly.
come up with good things like that. And then I use like old school storytelling, then like the old Shanakees, but I'd modern them up. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you might put in a modern kind of, we'll say like a dark twist somewhere along the line. Yeah, just to kind of spice it up.
And is there a venue you haven't played yet that you kind of have your eye on and say, you know, fuck it, I'd love to go there?
Like a dream venue.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know. I suppose you're looking at the big room in the INEC really would be
Yeah.
a big one. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Especially
that
for
would be
Kerry,
especially for Kerry, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be the kind of like, jeez,
He's made it.
as we call it below in Kerry, the INEC.
Yeah.
Isn't the league, you know, like shit, that's all. Yeah. So there, of course, and I'm looking now. I'm doing Whelan's now next week in
Dublin.
in Dublin.
Yeah,
you know, that's really kind of
That's a big-
that's
yeah,
a
that's-
cool venue. You know,
Yeah.
you know, like even this, it's like Whelan's. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Very good.
So I'm looking. I like that, and I've done all the great clubs in Dublin. You know,
You might even hit
Done through the
USA
years.
yet.
huh?
You might even hit USA yet.
Yeah, but I was in Boston last month. Actually.
Yeah.
I was there last month for Conmar Gales. A friend of mine was over there, so we went over with a great night.
Yeah.
But hopefully do more of that as well. You know, a bit of.
Yeah.
How do the
Travelling,
Americans
yes.
kind of find the humour? Like, do they just love the Irish accent?
I'd love to tell you because everyone there was Irish.
Irish, Boston is,
Boston is just
littered with
Irish. There was a
yeah.
few Americans in there, all right. Like there were a good few Americans there, all right.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was two people at the back, and they were the first people in. I think his name was like Carlos Angel, and his girlfriend was like Shaniqua something, right? And they were at the back, and I see you just don't know what lads, especially Gaelic football lads, are. They could be putting the fist like,
Yeah.
your man there, boy, travelled all the way from Florida for the show. I'm like, he did not. You go up to them. Did you travel from Florida for the show? Yeah, man. I was like, he was probably downstairs, and he said to come up. Like,
Yeah.
it's just yeah. So like there was a few Americans there who just loved the Irish accent. And,
Yeah.
Oh, my grandfather was Irish.
Yeah,
you
you
know.
get all the...
He used to tell stories, man. Oh my God, I used to be laughing so much. It was just amazing, and you really brought me back there, you know. And then they start getting emotional, and then you have to leave.
Oh, over nothing, like, yeah. And something you mentioned a few minutes ago was hecklers. And have you any interesting stories or good or bad experiences with hecklers?
Yeah, you'd
over
have,
there?
you'd have. I suppose with my shows, quite high energy in terms of the gossip and everything. It kind of encourages almost interaction.
Yeah.
And I would say 90% of the time it's great. You know,
yeah,
like you like what the people would say to you is grand. Like I have no problem with a constructive heckler.
Right,
So if you're talking about, I don't know, if you're talking about the Guinness Storehouse, right, for example, a very particular topic,
Yeah.
and if they say something about Guinness to you, that's fine. You can work off that. But like if you're talking, or they might say something about being drunk, you're like, okay, that's fine. But if they just say something like, you're shit, do you know, you're just there like,
Full
what?
stop, like, yeah.
So you're that will throw you, and you have to kind of pause and gather.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, thank you, sir. You know, or
Yeah.
it's like, how to define the word, or you know, you're really fucking trying to dig from somewhere. Then I suppose.
Yeah.
You almost just want to get them back, like,
Yeah.
Kind of turn it around on them almost.
Oh yeah. That was a great night, a classic night down in Skibbereen during the last summer. It was last July, and there was a fella. I wouldn't even say he was a heckler. He was just anytime I said something, I'd ask questions to the audience. Like, where's the nearest bar or whatever? And your man was gas. And like the whole show was just me and him just chatting.
Back
It
and
was,
forth.
but it was fantastic. Like it was such a laugh. What he was saying was brilliant. Like
Yeah.
And I'd asked him. I said to the crowd, I said, what other films have been filmed down West Cork? Because I knew The War of the Buttons was filmed there, you know. And your man just goes, oh, there was a few, all right. I said, what was it? He goes, Have At Her on the Bales too. That was filmed down here. And like all these like pornographic movies, but with ridiculous culty names. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was like everyone was in knots. Like,
Yeah.
listening to him, like he was doing the show.
Bit of a night off for you, so.
Yeah, it was fun actually. Yeah.
And throughout your career, you've toured with some big names as well, like haven't you? You've had Jason Byrne. Am I right in saying that?
Well, I supported
Yeah.
Jason Byrne at the Vodafone, and once in London as well. Like,
And then Tommy Tiernan as well.
Yeah, over in London as well. With the
Two big names in Irish comedy, like, aren't they?
Yeah. It's great to be on the same bill as them. Like,
Exactly.
it'll kind of force you to pull your socks up on the night. You're kind of like,
The boys are watching.
yeah. It's kind of like meeting the Kerry players when you're younger. Again, hello, how are you? Yeah.
And does that obviously adds to the nerves then of going out like or?
It would. You're just hoping they're about, like, you hope they see it as well. You know,
Yeah.
you hope they see it and they let you know after. Kind of like whatever regard. Like, it's important for that too. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It would be grand to support them, but if they didn't see it, and
Yeah.
like, it would be like, were you on as well? Were you?
Yeah.
I never saw you.
Yeah.
Fuck it anyway, you know. But no, it really it tests you, you know.
Yeah.
It tests you,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
kind of gives you that little bit of extra nerves, alright. But they're good nerves. You know?
Yeah.
It's exciting. Yeah.
And who would be some of your own influences in comedy, or people you would have looked up to maybe as a kid, or even now, still today?
Yeah, obviously, I suppose the first comedy DVD was Tommy Tiernan Loose back in 2005. I remember everyone had it.
Iconic,
It was iconic. Like,
Yeah,
the DVD was just coming to its prominence then as well.
Yeah.
So, like, you were like, I can just skip to this part, no problem. You know? Away I go. Yeah. But Tommy Tiernan, I suppose, I always loved Lee Evans. growing up.
Oh, he was one of my favourite comedians.
Yeah. Growing, like, Saturday nights when you're a teenager and you weren't going out, like, just throw on Comedy Central, Lee Evans was on.
Yeah.
And just the
All the
physicality.
shows.
Like,
Sweat like a motherfucker.
yeah, I just love the physicality of it.
Yeah.
And all the noises and sound effects, great. But I suppose one of my all-time favourites is Dylan Moran.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Dylan Moran. So just loved his pure natural style, like, you know, and just how he makes everything effortless, and it's different as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, for me, no, as a whole, no, he'd be probably my
And he was in a
favourite.
few big films, like, wasn't he, Dylan Moran?
Yeah. Fat Boy Run was probably the big one.
Big
he
one,
was
yeah,
in.
with Simon Pegg,
Yeah.
Would you look at getting into that kind of stuff? Hopefully.
Oh,
down the
you'd
line? I know
love
you were
to.
saying you were up doing an ad.
Yeah, or an advert or audition. So, Jesus, if you threw your hat in the ring, you might get it yourself. You know, that's the thing with adverts, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But with acting, I suppose I went to the Gaiety there for a year, and I did actually in Stefanefa across the road. I did the theatre course there, and of course, you'd love it. Like, you know, love even like to get into a good play. You know, that would be on in the Everyman or the Opera House or the Gaiety or somewhere.
Yeah,
it'd be nice. I'd love to do that. Like, and of course, you know, anything to do with performing arts, really. You'd love to throw your hat at it, like.
And have you done plays before?
Yeah, a few. Not a whole pile in the last few years now, like, you know. But we did an unbelievable one with Clash to Stefanefa when we were there.
Oh yeah.
It's called The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. It was a court case about should Judas go to hell or heaven.
Right.
And it was it was a mild kind of dark comedy as well.
Yeah.
So it was unreal, and it was so hard. We'd like 300 lines or something.
Jeez.
And that was just brilliant. Like, I remember just going, geez, I'd do this every day of the week.
Yeah.
You know, and that and a few like showcases when we were in the Gaiety and things like that. But it's very hard, like, the theatre to get into. Like, if you're not in Dublin, like, or like, we're thankfully in Cork now for being close to it. Like, but other than that, you'd want to be really you'd have to kind of do it yourself, really.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yes.
I remember talking to someone, they said if you want to get into theatre itself, you nearly want to set up your own play in your own company, and away you go, and hope people come, and that's it. Take it from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fair play to the people that do that, because it's not easy. Like.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I'm sure I saw the Young Offenders are looking for someone.
Oh,
You could throw the hat in the ring.
Jesus, that would be a nice one now, in fairness. Like,
You could do a great Cork accent, I'd imagine.
I wouldn't be too bad. Okay, but it's less Cork. Okay. I'd know Dominic, Garda Healy in it. Dominic. We did the improv panto together in the Opera House. Yeah. So throwing a good word there, Dominic's a class actor. Like,
No.
He's in one of those three. It's
in
Coots,
Coots,
isn't it?
is
Yeah,
it?
he's in Coots.
Dominic's in Coots as well.
Yeah.
Dominic's in Coots as well. He's Garda Healy in it. So we do the improv panto every Christmas. It's on the weekends there, throughout December.
Yeah.
And that's That's great crack. I don't know if you've ever been to that. It's,
No, I've never been.
And I
No,
saw a
no,
load
no.
of people, like
Yeah,
a lot of my
yeah.
friends.
Because
on
I've said it to
Instagram
my
are there.
friends, I've said, because they were like, geez, well, one of the lads said they were at the improv, and they said it was brilliant. And I said, yeah, I mean, it's great crack. They're like, I thought it was only for kids. And I was like, no, it's the improv panto. Like, it's on at like 11:30 at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on
And
so late. Like,
Does it go on long, or what, like, do you know, what's the kind of scenario behind it?
Oh, two halves. Like, you go in and
Yeah.
it's an interesting one actually. The improv panto, it's very challenging. Like it is.
Yeah.
Do
So
you have a certain topic before you go out, or is
yeah.
it just
So what you
pure
do
roll?
is you go into the theatre. The crowd goes into the theatre, and then Laura Mahoney from the Cahoots goes up, and she goes, "Okay, we have 9 fairy tales here. Which one do you want to see?" The audience just starts screaming, and there's always one group. They're all groups, like usually work groups.
Yeah.
One of them will say, Beauty and the Beast, and my Beauty and Beast over here, Cinderella over here, and Jack and the Beanstalk one's up there. But whoever gets the biggest shout then wins.
That's what
and we have
happens,
to do that then, and then they call the 5 of us up, and we're given numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they say, okay, the winner was Jack and the Beanstalk, okay, and then they'll have the 5 characters: Jack and the Beanstalk, Mom, Jack, the giant, the cow, and I think there's someone else, some woodsman. There's always a woodsman around them. And the audience goes, "Who do you want to be the cow? Number 3, 4, 5."
Oh, yeah.
And they pick who it is, and then we run. Once you're picked, you run backstage, get your costume, and then Dara, who's our musical director, Dara Keary, he's brilliant. Like, he just literally, the lights come on, and Dara just starts playing whatever comes to him, and you just react to that. And one of the girls just goes, "Once upon a time in a land far away in Botavent." And we just
Next thing you're into
literally,
it, like.
but you could be doing something about 2 people arguing over a loaf of bread in Wilton, but that could be part of this Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah,
Like, you know, it's a total and utter chaos, but it works really well. It's been a huge success.
I can only imagine how challenging it must be, like, to be part of.
God,
like,
it is. Yeah. The thing is as well, they do a thing where the audience can write down a line. They can write down anything they want, and they put it into a box. And when there's like a gong, so when you hear a you have to, no matter what you're saying, you have to go down to the box and pick up the line, and you have to say what's on it. Like, and
It could be anything, like.
It could be anything. Oh my God, some of it was horrendous. Like, some of the stuff. Some people are filthy bastards. Like, so you have to be very careful. Yeah.
I
Definitely
thought-
check that out this
yeah,
year.
I think if I had to do something like that, all I'd find is my mind just running over, going like, "What the fuck are you gonna say?"
That's it, yeah. But
What's
you're up. They're up in the bar beforehand, have a few drinks, and they're kind of, hold on, no, I have a good one. Yeah, tell me another one. You know?
You're helping each other out almost, like, yeah.
People are just throwing it in, and you could say anything. You could, like, sometimes you could pick it up and say hello to Mary in row C. Hello, Mary. You know?
Little small things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else the rest, it could be a Shakespeare soliloquy, then like, and the next one, oh fuck.
yeah.
Did you get caught for anything bad this year yourself?
Or just like bad, like really bad language, like you know, calling someone something, like you're like, oh God. Sometimes you're fit, you want to throw it away, but you kind of don't want to either, like, because the audience wants you to read it. Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, it's great.
Yeah, it's a good crack. Like.
Yeah, you'll try and fit it in if you can.
I suppose, like, we're nearly running out of time now at this stage.
Yeah.
But before we go, what are your future plans? What you hope to achieve
just
in the future?
keep making the videos and keep doing live shows. Really.
Yeah.
Tip away, and
The LMC is the one really, like.
coming up now. We'll see now. I suppose wherever else.
But you're in the Everyman here.
Everyman here
is
now.
It May, or
May
is it?
10th. Yeah.
Very
That
good.
was,
Anyone watching, check it out.
So
and
Tent
the Spirit
in
in the
Everyman.
City as well in Cork, aren't you?
what's that?
The Spirit in the City.
Spirit of the City.
Yeah,
That's next Thursday, actually. April 18th.
Yeah.
So that's in the Cork Cricket Ground.
Yeah.
Myself and Danny Ryan. Danny Ryan's top class comedian as well. He's a good mate of mine as well. So it's going to be a good crack.
That'd be good crack if anyone's around. Definitely
Oh
check it
yeah,
out, like,
definitely. Yes, it's the second year of it, I think. Actually, Spirit of the City
it's
runs
very
from
fresh,
runs throughout the whole weekend, actually. All Easter weekend. So if you're into gin and craft beer, then make your way to Spirit of the City at the Cork Cricket Grounds from April 18th to April 21st. Thank you very much.
Good plug there, coming on. We just want to thank you so much for coming on.
Oh no, thanks very much for having me, lads.
Bernard,
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And we wish you all the best.
First podcast, boy.
First of many, we
Jesus
hope.
Christ Almighty, Christ, he's on the podcast now. I'm supposed to be on the late next time.
And we hope you remember us when you're on the late.
Ah, sick.
Give the boys a shout.
Yeah. We might have an opportunity to go on Crime Call before that, I'd say. But no, thanks very much, lads.
No worries,
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Bernard.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And best of luck with everything in the
Thanks
future.
very much.
Cheers,
Cheers,
bye.
lads.
Thanks very much.